Aha!
It should have been impossible. I did.
We found the doctor. Turns out he was next door the whole time. And I would say he had a crazy evil scheme, except that he stole Nick Fury's crazy evil scheme. Oh well. It's time to have the showdown we've been waiting for. Let's take on the superpowered Doctor Doom.
For now, I will consign you to the eternal darkness of Doom.
Am I dead? Why does heaven
Well,
smell like a wet dog?
I guess that didn't go very well.
Wait, never mind.
I am Uatu, the Watcher. I prevented your deaths.
Oh look, Stan Lee.
Needed to save this universe. Listen closely, mortals. Dr. Doom's unrestrained use of Odin's power will soon tear the fabric of reality beyond repair. I have broken my sacred vow to only observe, so that I may give you this one chance to save your world.
Who can stand against the power of Odin? Even the gods of mighty Asgard have fallen.
Doom's power seems unlimited, but you must know a way to stop him.
Yes, there is a chance, but it will be difficult. First, you must obtain the Macran Crystal, a Shi'ar gem.
Yeah, so now we're in the Clash of the Titans moment of this video game, and by that I mean the 1980s Clash of the Titans. Not, although, you know, I haven't really seen the most recent Clash of the Titans recently, so I can't tell you how faithful that this element might have been, but this is the Watcher, Uatu, basically telling us that, oh yeah, you can defeat Doom, but the things you have to do to prepare yourself to defeat him might be harder than actually fighting him in battle. It's very similar to what happens in Clash of the Titans when, you know, Perseus, played by Harry Hamlin, asks, well, how do you defeat the Kraken? Oh, well, to defeat the Kraken you have to do something that might even be more dangerous than facing the Kraken.
And to do that, you must acquire.
You have to go, you know, to the far Isle of the Dead and bring back the head of Medusa.
The first item needed is a shard of the Macran Crystal.
Great.
Located in the
So here we're having the same sort of problem.
more information on
In order to... Uatu, unfortunately, is going to relive this entire cutscene again here in this segment, right, with all this text. But he's brought us to the city of the Inhumans, who haven't really cared what's been going on up till now because they're the Inhumans. And honestly, we don't really care about them much either, as you're going to see in the story. None of them are playable. The only important Inhuman, and the one that's necessary for our purposes, is Lockjaw, who has the ability to teleport just about anywhere, as far as I know from this game. And I don't know any of the comic book lore of the Inhumans enough to say anything different. So Lockjaw is going to take us to the places that we need to go in order to, I would say defeat the Kraken, but we've already done that in this game. But, we have to do the things that are more dangerous than simply facing Dr. Doom. We have to take part of the Macran Crystal from the Shi'ar Empire. And, the Macran Crystal is only, like, the most important object in the Empire. I'm sure we can just get a piece of it. We asked nicely. Oh, and then we have to get the Muonic Inducer from Galactus. Because Galactus is just a nice guy with a big-sounding name. He's not actually a tromping, titanic sort of figure who eats planets empowers himself with their energy. You know, the sort of probably the basis for the Transformers character of Unicron, who, although Unicron was an actual, Unicron has risen to godhood, basically. Galactus, I think, was something short of that, but he's very powerful. I mean, if we talk about things that Marvel might do with the movies, you know, in the future, and we're looking for unifying villains that are big enough to bring everyone together, Galactus is kind of on that short list of characters they could draw from. I mean, without the Fantastic Four, they kind of defaulted to Thanos. It would have been interesting to see what the plan for the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have looked like if they'd had access to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four right away, but they didn't. And you're going to watch me now blow through some quiz questions and probably get them wrong. Some of them more so than others. But this is because I don't know anything about comics, and the only reason I would know these questions is because I've seen somebody else play this game, or I've played this game, and remember, this is my first playthrough, so that really doesn't count yet. Speaking of Medusa, she's one of the Inhumans. Or there's an Inhuman named Medusa. She has very useful hair. So yes, we've could easily have made Kraken and Medusa references. So this whole thing should have been Clash of the Titans, the game, just not with the characters in the right roles or in the right places. So, if you were unfamiliar with the Inhumans and you didn't watch the brief made-for-TV mini special movie series that didn't go very well, this game's not going to change your mind. About the only interesting Inhuman, as far as I can tell, other than Lockjaw, is everybody has a place for Lockjaw. The other two Inhumans that are sort of any interest at all are Crystal, and that's largely because she's had a lot of love connections with various other characters in the Marvel Universe, and we'll meet her later. And then the other character is Karnak. Karnak's kind of an interesting guy because, you know, he's a strategic. I want to use the right word here because I don't know my Karnak lore. I don't have it up in front of me enough to say that. I want to say Karnak's ability is he can see someone's weakness, or he can see something's weakness. He doesn't exploit it, because if he did that, he would be the most powerful character in this universe. But, you know, it's an interesting characteristic to have, and makes him a pretty good advisor. The problem is he's advising Black Bolt, who, other than, you know, having the same sort of difficulty that all the Inhumans have, which is not dissimilar from the difficulty mutants have in the Marvel Universe, of trying to fit in a place where they clearly are different, and yet still, you know, valuable. Black Bolt's power is overpowered and at the same time incredibly inconsequential, because he can never use it. Black Bolt can produce sound at such levels that it's destructive. Even if he whispers, he can destroy cities. So he's mute. He communicates by sign language, and he sort of invalidates himself as a truly powerful character. The thing you have to worry about is whether he'll ever lose control to the extent where he would use his powers, and that happens occasionally, or he makes some sort of rational judgment that there is no other way. But it sort of sidelines him, even in this story, where they desperately could use someone with his skill. In fact, he should just have a showdown with Dr. Doom, where he just yells at him. It doesn't happen. I'm also not sure that Dr. Doom at this point doesn't have enough power to just sort of mess with reality. So, anyway, we're going to be, and all the Inhumans have sort of this Greek mythical aspect, except for, well, okay, some of them do. Triton is obvious connection to the pantheon of Greek sea gods. Medusa obviously has Greek connections. And I'm continuing to mess up these questions, particularly because they have to do with the Inhumans, although that one about Loki I didn't know either, so you know. This is kind of a cool question, just because if you've seen Infinity War, you've seen one of these guys, and you've seen him create a very important item in the Marvel MCU story. So, whatever. We get our experience points, our characters level up. You know, we're going to save the game. Again, we're still on easy here. This is still my first run through the game. And now we can go talk to people. So,
hi, welcome to Avalon. No one knows where it came from.
Let's see that
the crystal is
Dr. Pym is still with us, and
some sort of interdimensional nexus.
Not looking as old as Michael Douglas does. Just a different take
Thing is,
on the character. I kind of
the gravitational forces
liked the connection to Old Shield. It's just that,
that's the remains of an old city.
You know, you would hope that it gets more old Shield activities get more fleshed out, and I think that, you know, if Agent Carter had been more successful, although they keep trying to reboot it, you could have seen some of the interactions between her, and potentially they would have brought Hank Pym into those stories. Particularly since Hank and Howard Stark, you know, seem to be the minds behind the early Shield, or at least the Cold War era Shield.
Finally, the pollution of Earth became too much for them, so they moved everything up here to the moon. Hey, it's what I'm here for.
And, you know, I should bring up, as I think I did last time, the episode that Ant-Man and the Wasp is currently out in theaters, and as of this recording, I have not seen it. Again, the reviews have been favorable. It's winning the box office numbers right now with whatever is out. I don't know what's out at the moment.
Who knows what he'll set his sights on next?
Other than what, Jurassic World: Lost Kingdom, you know, which is a story for another day.
Every attempt to stop him. You name it, it's been tried. Air assaults, land assaults.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they keep utilizing the fact that it's really not Ant-Man anymore, and it's never been Ant-Man. The title of the first movie should have been Ant-Men.
It's useless to fight him in our current condition. So, we're going to do exactly what
And the
Doom
title
did.
of this movie
Steal
probably
his power back.
should be
You're welcome.
The Ant-Men and the Wasp. But I like Evangeline Lilly, so I'm kind of a big, so I'm be interested to see what the Wasp looks like.
To see the weakness in anything, a plan, an item, even a person.
Now you can meet Karnak on your own by reading the subtitles here, and it's going to look a lot like I just sort of ripped it from that. But trust me, I didn't actually see that on the screen when I was looking. But you can see that most of my knowledge of the Inhumans does come from this video game, which may not be the best place for it.
That is Lockjaw.
If you ask me who my favorite Inhuman is, it's probably Daisy Johnson, and she's not even part of this particular group.
Other dimensions. Not at all. In fact, he rather enjoys your race. His favorite being the
But-
King from the Fantastic Four.
There's Lockjaw. He's portrayed as
I prefer
giant
we
dog
are
here.
somewhat reluctant to allow you
And yeah, you can actually interact with Lockjaw. You can pet him.
situation to us.
Um,
It seem inevitable.
But you know, his most important aspect is he is our teleportation device. He can take us anywhere else we want to go, which is good because we've slowed down the plot fair enough. You know, here in Adelan, just sort of looking around. We're not done, so you know it's. I think it would be best to try to figure out something else worth mentioning. Okay, Vision just phased through a wall, which is cool because it means he can do that. Now he's phasing through a bench. I didn't really pay attention to that before.
She is the ruler of the Shi'ar Empire. A vast kingdom
Still, I
that
think a big
encompasses
oversight of this
each
game,
galaxies.
but again, this is me
Her
looking
subjects
back
by
at this
her
game
king
from,
wise and just.
you know, not playing it
She is
before it
fond
was
of a
already
friend
10
of
years
hers,
old.
So I don't believe you will have any
Looking
trouble
back
dealing
from
with
the
her.
second Avengers movie and going, you know, I really would have liked to have been the
I am
Vision,
pleased to have-
and he's not in the second game either. There's a rumored new Avengers game being produced by, I think, Square Enix.
Most interesting, as you have already heard
That
from Uatu.
Might be
To defeat
based on
Dr.
some of these
Doom,
same
you
ideas.
must acquire a
These
shard of the Mikran
um,
crystal. It is currently located on a capital
Ultimate
ship of
Alliance
the Shi'ar
games.
Empire. Luckily, we are
and
acquainted
their
with the
vision
ship,
might actually
and
be
they
a
should be
thing,
willing
but
to
I
part
don't.
with the crystal.
I don't have my
They are an alien
my hopes
spacefaring
up. I mean,
race
certainly
whose empire spans
they're going to
entire
let you play as
galaxies
Iron
and
Man. They're going to let you play as
incorporates
Captain
thousands of
America. They're going to let you play as Thor.
The vast
Beyond
realm
that,
is ruled
I
by a
don't know
hereditary leader known as the
what they're going to
Empress.
do. I
The
mean,
Shi'ar look very
if they
similar
were
to
smart,
humans. There are
they would
differences
give
due
you
to
the whole
fact that they
roster.
evolved from birds.
The MCU whole roster, which is a smaller roster than the roster of this game,
Wise and noble leader.
because this game allows you to play as a series of X-Men,
Most notably the X-Men. Their
some
leader,
villains
Professor Xavier,
who
was
are
at one
the
time
the whole
conscious.
Fantastic Four,
Over the years, there has been
and some other characters who haven't really been introduced.
Diken almost destroyed the Empire during his reign, and Deathbird, Lilandra's sister,
So-
has made several attempts to seize control for herself.
And I could see like some characters not being allowed or not being part of
Cyclops'
the new
father,
game.
Chris Summers,
Um,
first encountered the Shi'ar when they
You know,
attacked his
Ant-Man,
plane and
unfortunately,
took him away
seems
from
like a
Earth.
hard character to
Eventually,
kind of code
he
into
escaped
another
and
game.
formed the Starjammers. The
Just
Starjammers
because they've
are a
successfully
group of
done it in the
convicts
Lego
engaged in space
Marvel
piracy
superhero
during the
games
reign of
doesn't
Ken. Once
doesn't
Lilandra
mean they'll
came
get it
into
right this
power,
time.
they
And of course,
became
the only
friends
way
of
you
the
could play
Shi'ar
as
Empire,
Scott Lang
and now
Ant-Man
engage in more legal forms of
in
business.
the Marvel
You are very welcome.
Lego games was to get the PS3 exclusive stuff for Lego Marvel Avengers. Which brings up a point. I actually have a PS3 now. I've had it for about a year.
I am Uatu, the Watcher.
Basically, I call it my Gundam machine because I only use it to play games that are associated with the Gundam series.
Your evolution. I find that over the millennia,
Currently, I'm trying to
of your people,
beat all the medals
unfortunate if you were destroyed.
on Gundam or Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn.
That is dedicated to observing
But I also have a Japanese copy of Gundam Extreme Verse Full Boost, which is the last game to come out before Gundam Versus for the next-gen stuff. And really the reason I got that game was only to be able to play as Gundam Sandrock, something you can't do in Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn because, for some reason, the Gundam Wing Gundams weren't as important as the 00 Gundams or generic suits from the Gundam Seed series. But I have a whole Gundam playthrough that I've been uploading slowly, probably in parallel with this one. So if you want to see my opinions on all things Gundam, or at least watch me trip over things that I don't know about the Gundam series, that series should be about 13 episodes in at this point, and I really don't know how far it's going to go. But we've talked to a bunch of people. I don't feel like we need to talk to more people at the moment. I mean, we still haven't even talked to the Inhuman royal family that are in the chamber. So I think that this has been enough of a sort of